everything that John Stockton has done has always been about getting his teammates involved every time. John Stockton probably was the purest point guard that haven't won, and I think the reason why he didn't win because he refused to break the rules of a traditional point guard. You've never seen John Stockton on a 15-0 run by himself. He just can't do it. You've never seen him just say, "I'm going to take over this game. If I got to shoot 30 times, that's what's going to happen." He wouldn't do it. And because he had these rules and regulations, he was probably one of the greatest point guards in history. But, when a team guarded him to where, okay, we're going to just take away your ability to pass as much as possible. It's like now he's still good enough to force the pass. As you can see, he wasn't even no space in there. He got the ball there. But it's like, would it have been better if he probably would have been more aggressive on the offense? Neither here nor there. Could be yes, could be no. We don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and get this over to Ham as we have this video play a little bit longer. Ham, what are just certain things that sticks out? Does it look like the X and O's on here from what you're saying?
First of all, this you added one of my favorite games of John Stockton. Like I actually remember watching this one as a kid, as a 7-year-old in 1988. And it was such a blueprint because it was just, like I was saying earlier, he's the conductor. He's the master of ceremonies for his squad. Everything that went offensively through, for Utah, it went through John Stockton. Smart decisions. He knew where everyone was. You got everyone involved. He's accountable. And then, what's that, 23 points, 24 assists?
Yep, that was the game.
That's a night. That's straight up a night. And he doing this against Magic, Michael Cooper, who was an elite defender, Byron Scott, who was a legit defender on ball in the month of May.
If you just see it. Yeah, there you go. I'm going in. I'm sorry. What you say, Big Shot? You got anything?
No, I was saying, and if you look at John Stockton and his clips, or anybody watch John Stockton, he's understanding where everybody's at on the field. So he bring the ball down the break. I might run the break off to the side one time because I'm gonna set up my side screen and roll. I might run it straight down the floor, press the defense. I hand it back to Karl Malone for some stuff. And that's just point guards understanding where, as Les talked about, where, when, and what. If you look at all of John Stockton's career, it's never incorrect. It's almost too perfect.
Yeah. And we're gonna before we bring Coach Les on, Germ, Mo, any questions? Anything stands out so far?
Yeah, so I got a question.
Sure.
So, and it's kind of ironic because we've been preaching both views in 94 before we even made the scene. This was 2016, 2015, about the game being positionless, both games, NFL and basketball. And I'm looking at that coach's thing you had up, MJ, which I got to see if there's one for football because sheesh, gave me goosebumps.
I'll send you the link. Send you the link.
So if you're looking at this, these guys are labeled by numbers, not by positions. And it's sort of in the NFL, go back to a conversation me and Vic had. We were trying to identify a play, and I said, well, he's the Y on this play. And Vic said, well, the Y is always the tight end. I said, not anymore. The Y is the Y. So what I'm asking is, are there plays now when they call plays in the NBA where it's like, okay, this guy is the 1, this guy is the 2, this guy is the 3, this guy is the 5, but it's not necessarily in the traditional point guard.
Absolutely.
That is the perfect segue to the next point guard I'm going to talk about because, like I said, from a traditional standpoint, an argument can be made that John Stockton, because he ran the position so perfect, that he missed out on championships by not going outside the box. Well, this guy did not stay within the box, especially once it got to 1989. Once he got a taste in 88, it got to 7 games, but they didn't win. This is his first game he played when they rematched the Lakers And I'm sorry, I'm not really picking on the Lakers. I'm just trying to find games against the best talent so that you can see, you know what I'm saying, these guys play at the highest level. So we're going to go ahead and play another point guard and Zeke, in which you can understand off bat that this first game, he set the tone as if to say, fuck them rules. We about to win this game. And you're about to see it right off bat early on. So we know Isaiah is quote unquote a one right here. But once you see this first possession, he sets the tone off bat. Once they get the rebound, they got it. He pushes the ball. Now you got to think, this is 1989. That's a horrible shot in 1989. He does not care. He's not playing with y'all at all. He set the tone early. That first play pretty much set the tone for the whole series, in which Magic in game 2, for those who you guys don't know, end up pulling a hamstring.
Hamstring, right.
Because he had to guard one of these guards, and they just pretty much isoed the whole way. Look, Isaiah's coming off a screen. He is a one, but that's not what ones do. That's a wing. So automatically you're seeing him do different things despite his height. It's just a skill set. Good run on the double and the jump. He gets the ball again. He pushes again. What do I got? What do I got? Are y'all still playing with it? Okay. Okay. Y'all keep playing with it, huh? No. I ain't running nothing. I'm not running anything. This dude got to hold me. He got to guard me. I'm not running no plays. There is no play. I'm the play.
And what's laughing about this is I mentioned this in the notes before the show. It's like this Pistons team right here, they won with 3 point guards, small point guards. They interchanged. Straight up, they all could score. They all counted the ball. They all could direct traffic. But Benny could do it. Like let's say, shout out to Benny. Benny could do it, but Benny was about those buckets, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's what he was bringing. That's what he was coming in for. But Joe D and Isaiah were so interchangeable. And then the way that they did it on the other end defensively, they got after it, especially Joe D. Joe D was on Michael Magic and so on and so forth.
What's great about this clip is here we're talking about a guy who's a point guard, but this is talk about understanding, feel of the game. This is the first game of the series. I'm gonna establish the fact that we here.
Facts.
So instead of coming out and distributing the ball, I'm gonna come out and score. So I'm gonna come out real aggressive on offense and score and set the tempo, rather than come out here and say we got to establish Mark Aguirre or Buda Edwards. I'm gonna score early to establish the pace, establish the tempo that we're gonna go. So again, as MJ talked about, this is the transition now to your more lead guard. Yes, I'm not a selfish player.
No,
but I need to score early to establish what's going to happen.
And that happens, and I'm glad you said that, Big Shot. That happens when your point guard is your best player, when he's your most talented player. Mm-hmm. He has this. Zeke was going to set that tone regardless. He was setting that tone regardless if it was the Lakers, it was the finals. He was going to come out and set that tone because they all looked at him as the leader. And that goes back to what I said originally about him having that command. Mm-hmm. He had that command to let them know, like, look, this is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take you there. I'm gonna take you there, and then I'm gonna put you in the spots that need to be put. Let me get to, we got 100 miles to go. Well, let us get us to 80 miles, and then y'all can take care of the rest of the 20. And I'm just gonna guide. I'm gonna navigate. It's like going on a road trip. You go on a 10-hour road trip.
Right.
You got inexperienced drivers. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go and drive these 8 hours, but then I'm gonna let y'all finish out these next 2. The 3 of y'all could split up these next 2 hours. And let me make sure we get somewhere to cell phone coverage.
As you can see here, I'm in my bag. Once I get my matchup, I'm in my bag. So yeah, I am a true point guard. Yeah, I've already established everybody. I can get everybody. I don't get 15 assists if I ain't, putting work in. But what's not going to happen though is if you give me the match, I'm going to be the number one option now in that offense. And this was, like I said, the blueprint was Isaiah Thomas pretty much showing that since I have the speed advantage against Magic Johnson, and I know he can't stay in front of me, I'm going to make that matchup the matchup. What has graduated now is, the pick and roll that is being happening now. Now the pick and roll is not to get the ball to the roll man necessarily, but it's to get the guard to switch on somebody slower. And this is what we're about to see right now after he hits his three. He pretty much just isolated Bynum and dragged him for about a good 2 minutes as we start here. Good pick and roll pass. So now we're incorporating other rules with this. So I know you can't guard me. Come on out here. This is the new offense. Come on out here. You helping? That's cool. I give it to my shooter. So I've still got people involved, but the geography of the floor has changed. At first, we're trying to get the ball here and draw the double. Now I could draw the double just off having a mismatch.
Yeah.
Now you got to have help side with this, or I'm gonna cook him. You have to help. If you don't help, this is what's gonna happen to him. This is what if you don't help. So which one do you want? You gonna deal with that, or you gonna help out and deal with my shooters?
It's funny because when you guys were talking about these, new point guards and the spacing and everything, again, just to keep the whole Views of 94 theme going, sort of what's been happening in the NFL once they made those rule changes. Well, now all of a sudden, you can't bump a guy within his first 5 yards of running his route. So you could run these flood concepts. You could run three guys to the same side on different levels. You could do all these different combinations because for the most part, as long as your offensive line holds up, you know where they're going to be by the time you get to the end of your drop.
Yep. Anything y'all want to add before I move to the next one?
What's the next one?
we enter into, this guy who, what he does now is he's like the Patrick Mahomes of the NBA, because what he has done is he has said, okay, I'm going to take my scoring ability, my shooting ability, and I'm going to play that around my ability to still make the right read in the pass. So because I'm so good at shooting, y'all gonna give me these really easy reads and I'm going to take them. So as we start this video, you're going to see off bat, and I'm going to play this slow because I want people to really catch it. I might even replay this first play because it don't look like much to the naked eye, but once I explain it, it's going to be very efficient as to what we're talking about. So he pushes the ball. Stop right here. He only took 2 dribbles. Look how much attention he got. Look how everybody's funneling middle.
Right.
Because he might pull up from here.
He might.
He might pull up from here. So automatically the whole team is where? In the middle, where he's at. So now, since they're in the middle, guess what? I make this pass, the middle is open. Because y'all still worried about him trailing. I'll let it watch. Look. So he gets the steal. Everybody's focused on him. Even as he running, there's still 2 or 3 people looking to see where he at trailing.
Hey, he put LeBron in a high-low situation for my football heads.
Absolutely. So it's like, even in numbers, he passed the ball, he got rid of it. It's still 2 people like, nah, I'm not leaving him. In a fast break.
Jeez.
Right. It was one that was like this in game 1 of 2017. And it's pretty much the same scenario, except KD was pushing it up the floor. And you had Clay on one wing and Steph was trailing off the other one. Bron just threw his hands up and just gave a dunk up. Like, why bother?
And this game, we are seeing the culmination of everything that we just discussed within the last point guards. We're gonna see we saw a little bit of the traditional with him giving the ball up early to a score. We're seeing him play off the ball now, but just watch how he plays off the ball. So he sets the screen, he sets another screen. You face guard me, I backdoor.
Ooh.
I know what you're trying to take away from me. Now you give me room, I do what I do best.
And what I liked about him in general is kind of going back to what you showed with Chris when Chris kept pulling Andrew Bynum out there. It's like how many times have you seen Ibaka get cooked from out there, Chef? By Steph. Plenty.
Look, you got Tristan Thompson on me. Tristan cannot guard me out there. He's not. I'm going to get my space. I'm not worried about him blocking my shot out there. He's not quick enough.
And this was the game where they was all on the Deli locking him up.
Yeah.
That was that. And he put 37 on these people.
Yeah. This is
Ended
the
up in the
exact same
hospital
game.
with an IV.
Exactly.
And every time we see this, we're looking at the basic horns too. Every time we see this, it's a big man out there with him that cannot stay in front of him fundamentally.
Not
And
the
this
first
is
time.
also the mean mug game when he came back down and hit him with the mean mug.
Yeah, so would we actually constitute Steph as a true point guard? We can't, because his skill set won't allow us to constitute him for that. But he still has to do the regular playmaking things and small things like this to keep his team motivated and lead a different way. The one thing that I can say is a lot of people will think because he's not running the traditional point guard that he is selfish, which will be furthest from the truth. Because if he was selfish, imagine Steph running the pick and roll for 35 to 40 minutes.
Yeah. Crazy.
Trae Young.
Crazy.
I mean, you see what Trae Young's doing. We've seen what James Harden numbers have looked like. Steph is doing this, and he's playing multiple with different ways. Sometimes it's a pick and roll. Sometimes he's setting screens. Sometimes he don't even touch the ball. He just runs to the corner.
I mean, he's talking about you're not going to call Curry a true point guard. I mean, you could call him whatever you want to call him. He is, you know what I mean? Because he's still elite at that position. And again, just to bring in the football into it, the one thing Mahomes has above I would say 98% of any quarterback that's come in the league over the last 10 years is he can do it from the pocket. And that's, I mean, he could do all these fancy things. You could run read option. You could run the RPOs. You could run any sort of offense you want to run with Mahomes under center. But at the end of the day, he can still stand back there and just snipe you to the death.
And this is the perfect segue to the football as far as talking about these QBs, unless y'all got something else to add.
Yeah, can I add something with Curry?
Sure.
And like I said, the lead guard, because I like calling the lead guard now as opposed to a point guard, just because of what we grew up on. But if you notice in that finals, and then looking at the clips, Steph was able to be himself because of the other playmakers and decision makers out there with him. Andre Iguodala is one of the most versatile players that we've seen in this game. I mean, Iguodala was actually his high school team's point guard. He was actually high school team's point guard. You had Barbosa out there that primarily when he was with the Suns, he was, making a name for himself in his own right at the point guard, combo guard position. One thing that the person that I'm getting ready to say that probably was the most purest point guard on that team.
Draymond.
No. Sean Livingston.
Without question.
That's all Sean had ever been.
That's all they had ever done.
Sean's ability to know basketball, to know how to pass. That's a very important skill that people don't talk about. He knows how to pass the ball. Basketball IQ off the charts. I mean, like we forget about Sean. Sean was gonna be something else. Unfortunate circumstances. Sean was on his way. Sean is what we might end up. Who we thought Sean was gonna be is who we see in LaMelo Ball.